the sales cycle. Today I'm going to talk about the sales cycle. There's like short-term, long-term sales cycle, and then and relate that to one-to-one selling and one-to-many selling. So when I started my journey a couple years ago, about 2 years and 3 weeks ago, I could actually give you the exact date. What was the date that I, signed up for the One Funnel Away challenge, and then then jumped into the 2CCX. So I think it was September 15th, plus or minus a day or two, when I jumped into the One Funnel Away challenge. Oh, that would be 2020, September 15th, 2020. And then, of course, as I was in Russell's ecosystem, I jumped into his 2 Comma Club Live virtual event. And next thing you know, I'm in the 2CCX. But what's so intriguing about the 2CCX and online selling and webinars and all that stuff is the idea of one-to-many selling. And it's something that I want to learn, I want to master, and how do I want to say this? Something I want to learn, I want to master, and hence the Table Rush Talk Show. This podcast originally started out as Bitch Slap, the Accelerated Path to Peace, which was more of like spiritual, universal smack on the side of the head. How do we rebound from that and lead a better life? To, that's more personal to me, although I'll gladly talk about spiritual stuff. So I'll definitely drop an episode about spiritual stuff and try and weave it into business, or not. And then I changed to the Table Rush Talk Show. I'm really obsessed with this one-to-many selling. I mastered one-to-one selling on a short sales cycle, right? And I mastered that in first I started out in the commodities business as a commodities broker, got my chops there, lots of telemarketing, lots of learning how to as a retail commodities broker. It's like being a stockbroker kind of, but you're dealing with some of the riskiest assets in the world, so it's a more speculator mindset customer. But you're like, okay, there's call one. When between first contact, how many calls does it take to get them to open their account, right? And then I went into tech sales for a few years. I was selling data co-location, which is basically rack space and server farms. And same thing. Okay, that was a little bit longer of a sales cycle. I've got, oh my gosh, so many stories around that. But then I was more face-to-face selling. So the commodities was telemarketing, phone outreach. The tech was face-to-face, so I was walking in and cold call walk-in into businesses and, do you need our services? So what was the sales cycle between first outreach, hello, handshake, to yes, we'd love a T1 line. That's old tech talk, by the way. That's like data lines and some server space. And then it was mortgages. It all came together for me in mortgages. I started selling mortgages December 2001 and kept in mortgages until about 2016. I think it was 2016, 17 maybe. Let's call it, somewhere in there. I'll track down the exact date of when I quit. So it was okay. Then I was doing mailer campaigns and telemarketing, and I had the system dialed in. I do refis and purchases, but from first contact, first contact to yes, we'd love to get a loan with you. How many calls, emails did that take? And so now, as I'm testimonial guy, and I'm having a lot of one-on-one interactions as I'm, networking and meeting people who want help getting their customer testimonials. I'm meeting them in the 2CCX. I'm meeting them at networking events. I'm meeting them, in my sphere of influence of people that have businesses. And I have this customer, they sell courses, they have no one-on-one interaction or FaceTime interaction with their course buyers. And thank you for listening to that, to get to this point. But I am like, oh my gosh, I get to learn the sales cycle of and let's say what I am. There's two sales cycles I'm learning. What is the sales cycle as someone expresses interest in getting their testimonials for them from first contact to signing on the dotted line, right? And I get to be patient with that process as I learn it. And I'm like, oh yes, this is just like any other sales thing that I've started. Like, you get to learn how many contacts on average does it take? What do you need to say at each step? Like, what are the objections? Because there's a lot of that. I'm like, oh, what are the real objections? Because there's the objections that they say, and then there's the real objections. So I'm learning that. And then there's the sell of getting the person to commit to giving you their testimonial, right? So a client hires me to get their customer testimonials. Good, that sale's done. Now I get to sell their customers on getting them on camera, right? And just this last episode, I talked about, well, how much customer interaction is there? And if there's lots of customer interaction, well, it's easier to set up the testimonial versus no customer interaction. Well, this is going to be a different process. So love that. But what I want to talk about now is, let's see if I can get focused here, is, okay, I get to learn how to take the objections that I'm learning from the people that I'm trying to get to hire me to get their testimonials. And how do I apply that to one-to-many selling? Because I was just thinking as I was walking, I had this sort of epiphany, and I was like, yeah, I need to get to one-to-many selling as fast as I can. I need to start taking what I'm learning now from this one-to-one and apply it to a webinar or apply it to a challenge. I just was like, yeah, the one-to-many. Now, networking is amazing. A ton of opportunities there. I think that's awesome. But I'm not sure if I'm making sense here. I'm just telling you where I am in this process. So yeah, I have some potential clients that want me to get testimonials for them where I've in effect sent out quotes. But it's so interesting because it's all over DMs. It's all over DMs and emails. And I'm used to a lot more historically, cell phone calls, stuff like that, and some emails. But I'm like, oh my gosh, someone can ignore DMs or DM messages. But I'm thinking Voxer. I'm thinking, man, I make contact with somebody. What's their communication channel that they use most? That's what I need to get that answer. So I'm going to work that into my script. Oh, this has been an amazing podcast episode. Thank you for listening. That's one of my big takeaways. What is your preferred means of communication, Mr. Potential Customer? Are you a Voxer guy, a Marco Polo, WhatsApp, DMs, All right, there you go. Get out there, enjoy the day, keep pressing forward. That's what I've got. Thanks for listening. That's a lie. I'm going to add a little bit more. So I'm thinking as I'm going to be doing webinars or challenges, I get to take what I've learned, from the objections. But I've just had this thought too, like, man, I could accelerate the process by getting challenges and webinars going ASAP, because you can get the objections, assuming you're getting people to these events. You can, in the chats, in the comments, in the responses from the webinar and or challenge, in the direct messages, you can get the objections. But yeah, I'm trying to be. I will end with this. The other thing is that be patient and be easy on myself. Be like, okay, it's the process. Like, you got to learn the process. Be patient. Keep at it. The rewards can be huge.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.